extravaganza comes to you every Monday through Thursday at 9 o'clock. Pugs and Parker. Oh, I should have done this first. Let's bring in Parker's here. Look at him. There he is. James Parker, the other half of Pugs and Parker. This is the second of two streams that I do. You can find both streams right here, wherever you are. I don't even know where you are. Are you watching on Facebook, YouTube? What? I don't know. But wherever you are, you can also find my Monday through Friday stream. That's called High Noon, and that comes on at noon. See how that works? Monday through Friday. James, how are you tonight?
I'm okay. Doing all right. The big thing at the Parker household is we got some masking tape and we taped off a 4-square court in the driveway.
4-square.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of 4-square over the last couple days. It turns out I am pretty damn good.
What is 4-square?
4-square is a child's game with the big squeezy bouncy ball like a kickball, and you stand in a grid like a 4-block grid, and you just try and bounce it in each other's square without them being able to return it.
Is this what you play when you don't have rec centers and community centers and professional sports teams? I've never heard of this.
No, this isn't a bug tussle thing. This is an age thing. So people who are 5 years older than me don't know 4-square, and people who are my age down about 10 years, we don't know what Gaga Ball is, but my kids all know what Gaga Ball is, to the point at their elementary and primary school, they both have a Gaga Ball court. Okay. And they even have a Gaga Ball court at the church playground.
I do not know what Gaga Ball is, but I also don't know what pickleball is, and I refuse to learn about pickleball. Everybody's talking about pickleball.
No.
I'm like, nope.
Pickleball's something different. Pickleball, and you're familiar. I have this this irritation list with my fellow white people that we keep inventing sports because we keep losing dominance in previous sports that we previously held sway.
Checks out.
Yeah. So football used to be our thing. Baseball used to be our thing. Basketball used to be our thing. And so now we have to come up with like cornhole, and we have to come up with pickleball. We have to come up with lacrosse. Yeah, we're playing lacrosse now. Is that what we're doing? Yeah. And then we have squash and racquetball. And, it's
the problem, I like what you're saying about lacrosse, but the problem with that is what happens when we come up against the Native American team who that's their actual sport. And then the white guys lose at lacrosse again.
Oh, is that their actual sport?
Oh, yeah, that's where that comes from. That lacrosse.
Their actual sport now is blackjack, Pugs. They're not. You don't see Indians running around playing lacrosse. This is upper crust white guys that are playing lacrosse.
No, I saw a documentary probably 20 years ago now about some Indian reservation in Manitoba, I don't know, French Canada or wherever it is. And these Indians are like the Harlem Globetrotters of lacrosse. And they would tour around playing, organized lacrosse teams, mostly, I would imagine, private school kids. But these Indians would just whip the crap out of the normal kids.
I always meant to tell you about.
Not that they're not normal. Hold on, I didn't mean the Native North Americans.
You know what you meant. This is a safe place. No one's going to make you apologize. But one of the.
What's up, Bill? Bill, just what's up?
Yes. Hello to you too, Bill. You want us to start over there? I forgot what I was going to say now.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. But, one thing that we can talk about that I would like to talk about is why we canceled last night's show and how much fun that was once we realized that we probably didn't need to cancel last night's show after all. The national championship game. Did you watch it at your house?
I didn't actually. Me and the wife were watching Outlander, and I can kind of tell when my wife has a crush on the Jamie Fraser, the main character, James Fraser, both the actor and the character, and she's read the books, and this guy gets her all hot and worked up. Yeah. So if she watches 2 episodes of Outlander in a row, the odds of me scoring are just exponentially good. Right. And so I was kind of riding that wave. And so I was like, you know what? The first half can freaking wait. I'll just pick this up at halftime. And then, you told me that we're not going to do a show. So I was like, all right, well, we'll just watch Outlander until she's had enough. And then I, have a little fun, and I'll go catch up with the game whenever, because sex is more important than football.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe not. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Look, I can just go on my phone and say, what's the score of the TCU football game? Actually, I said, what's the score of the TCU game? And Siri had the unmitigated gall to say, football or baseball or basketball.
Not paying close enough attention. Siri's not a sports fan, apparently. Okay, so the sex versus football thing, that's interesting. That's interesting. I don't think I agree with you. I think that football is far more enjoyable, pleasurable, and interesting than sex, especially once you get to a certain stage in life where you've had a bunch of sex. What are you going to do? You can't blow my mind. But seeing my team win a Super Bowl, that's yeah, I'm sorry. I have very few this it's interesting now that I'm working through this. I have very few pure sexual memories where I can be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That was great." But I can tell you just about every big Bears win over the past 50 years. I can tell you exactly where I was when I was watching these games. So I'm not going with you that sex is more important than football. I think football might be more important than sex. I am a 50-something-year-old man though, so
Okay, but look, we're talking about TCU versus Georgia. I have no affiliation with either one of these teams, and for what interest I do have in college football, it's still we're talking about the first and second quarters even. So no, sex is
okay,
way more important than that. Way
that's fair. That's fair. But then you're not a real college football fan because
no.
one, it's not just a game between TCU and Georgia. It's the national championship game. It's what we've been waiting for all
Yeah,
year.
no. See, look, I love football, but it's never
Mhm.
given me an orgasm.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'd say you don't love football properly. Anyway, and you do have sort of a tie to it. I mean, and guess you do, unless you don't consider yourself a North Texan, because North Texas was represented in the national championship game.
I think
TCU.
that's so cool because they've
Yeah.
never done anything in their life except for that one Andy Dalton year, which is still pretty cool.
They had LaDainian Tom. What are you talking about? TCU has a history, but just because you don't know it, they don't have a
No, I'm
history.
saying they've never been in the finals before, much less won a championship. They did have that one undefeated season though, where Andy Dalton and LaDainian Tomlinson were there, and they didn't lose a game. And that's the pinnacle of the TCU football program. And so yeah, it's super cool that they are in the finals, and I'm very happy as both a Texan and a Christian and a guy who's the maybe of universities. You
Sure,
know,
why
yeah, so that hits me on 3 points there. Still not better than sex.
It was humiliating. It was humiliating. Not for me because I'm a Johnny Come Lately TCU fan. I look. It's as far as TCU in this town, like Dallas has SMU and Fort Worth has TCU, and they're two big rivals, and they both service the same community. Rich, pompous white kids. You know, they're fancy private schools
Yeah,
for
we'll
rich
put
kids.
asterisk for Asians maybe in there. A lot of
Sure, why
Asians
not?
doing it.
Yeah. And there's some minority scholarships. I mean, come on. TCU was in the national championship game. So obviously it's not just white,
It
rich
was
kids.
on a bunch of Blakes and Codys.
But, you have the, what do they call it? The Skillet Bowl, that game every year between SMU and TCU. And, I live on the campus of SMU. So I've sort of become by proxy an SMU fan. But because of the association with TCU and, them being a rival and all that stuff, I was down. And I got some friends who are TCU friends, and we're talking during the day. I'm like, what should I be looking for? And oh, they were so excited. And dare I say, dangerously arrogant. I did not point that out to anybody while talking to the TCE fans yesterday afternoon, but oh my God. And by the way, I'm not a dick. It's not like I started texting. You don't. When a dude makes a big proclamation like this could be one of the best Texas football teams ever produced, that's what a TCU fan said yesterday.
Hold on.
Pound for pound, team for team, this could be. And I corrected. I said, "You mean like pros and stuff too?" He's like, "Oh yeah, there were holes in those Cowboys teams. This team doesn't have any holes. They lost 65-7. No holes. This dude, that did not age well.
That is a Tecmo score.
Yeah." It was embarrassing. They didn't belong in the game. They shouldn't have been in the game, and the score proved it. So
Well, how do you say that when they won their semifinal? Is the Big Ten just that overrated?
They beat Michigan. I think Michigan had a down game. I think if they play 10 times, Michigan wins 9 of them. I think Ohio State wins
Probably.
10 out of 10.
It looks like it now, doesn't it?
It does. It looks like it now. Ohio State play. Georgia scored 65 points. They won 65-7. Ohio State took Georgia right down to the last side. I mean, Ohio State played Georgia tougher than they've been played in years. So I don't know. What I was more interested in and what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about now that our football seasons are over, although not really, you are a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Dude.
You guys are, I don't know, what are you going to be, 4th seed? What are you going? You looks like you're heading down for a rematch against Tom Brady in Tampa for round 1 of the playoffs. How do you feel as a Cowboy fan?
Absolutely hate it. I feel horrible going into this game. My expectations are I'm almost pessimistic on this game. I'm only optimistic about this game. I'm only positive, leaning on the positive side of the spectrum because I'm such a stupid Cowboys fan that, you know what, if you're not going to be
Right.
positive about your team, if you're going to be a dick about every game, then don't even bother. You know,
What's the point? What's the
yeah,
point of being a fan? Like my
right.
friend who said this could be the best TCU team, this could be the best football team in Texas. That guy, God love him. You know why? He was drunk on optimism. And that's why we become fans. We hate what we do Monday through Friday, but we look forward to that one day a week where just our optimism can take control. So that there's nothing wrong with that. Be optimistic. You're a Cowboy fan.
Here's the downside. Tom Brady. Tom Brady has a horrible history of success in the postseason, especially in these early rounds. Tom Brady has been a Cowboy killer. I think Tom Brady has played the Cowboys like 9 times and beat them 9 times.
Was that a weird stat we heard earlier in the years? Brady's never lost to the Cowboys, something like that. I don't know. It's whatever it was. It should send a chill down your spine.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful. And the Tom Brady games that we've just had to play in the last 2 years, that was not fun. We didn't, and it's not all Tom Brady. In the first game of the season, what did we do? Score 3 points. So, Tom Brady had nothing to do with that.
Oh.
So we don't match up well against them offensively or defensively. We're going to be in Tampa Bay. It's going to be a Monday night game, so there's not going to be a whole lot of traveling Dallas fans like
Is
that.
that the Monday night game?
Yeah. So that's not good for the Cowboys either, because that's gonna my wife's best friend that has the season tickets to Tampa. She's
Right.
not able to go to the game. She kind of wants to go to the game because there's a good chance it could be Tom Brady's last game, and that'd be cool to be there.
Yeah.
But she says she can't even hardly sell her tickets for face value right now. She's got them listed barely above, and they're not selling because no one can travel on a Monday, or not as many people can travel on a Monday. And so the interest to sop it up on the local level is what they're leaning on right now.
Here's what I think, and this is my honest to God opinion on this. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I think Tampa Bay is terrible. I know that Tom Brady is Tom Brady. You don't have to tell me. I dealt with 25 years of Brett Favre into Aaron Rodgers. I know what a guy who, when he's got your number, how demoralizing that can be.
It is, man.
It really is demoralizing.
Pulp Fiction when we play this.
You want to talk to people about Tom Brady abuse? Talk to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills for decades took second place to Tom Brady. So anyway, I don't think Tom Brady is who Tom Brady was. I think Tom Brady has had a year that some other things are going on off the field that might be distracting him. I think he's been hurt. I think he's getting some healthy players back. I don't know. I think the Cowboys can win this game. Here's where I get worried. I look at all of the other teams, Vikings included. Vikings are healthy now. I mean, I look at all of these other teams and I go, I don't know how confident I feel about the Dallas Cowboys beating the San Francisco 49ers, especially in San Francisco.
Well, but the Cowboys just beat the Vikings like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and they were all broken up, and now they're healthy. And I mean, they've got a crazy talented team. I mean, they got Jefferson, they got Thielen, they got Cook, they got Hawkinson, the tight end. Their tight end, who is it Jones? I can't think of his name. He's one of the top tight ends, young tight ends in the league. He goes down in week 5. They make a desperation trade for one of the best tight ends in football, Detroit Lions, TJ Hawkinson. They get him. Hawkinson burns up the league with Minnesota. And now they got the original tight end back too. So now they've got this crazy. They got the best wide receiver in football in Justin Jefferson. I don't know. A healthy
Charles in the comment section says Minnesota is trash.
That's fine. That is not an evaluation that I would agree with in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I just gave you their roster. Okay, Justin Jefferson is trash. Adam Thielen is trash. Dalvin Cook is trash.
No, that's not
Hawkinson
trash.
is trash.
That is trash.
These guys are trash, dude. You cannot like the Minnesota Vikings. Look, my team plays in the North. I hate the Vikings, but I wouldn't sleep on them in the playoffs, especially when they get healthy. So that's what worries me about the Cowboys, that it's just going to be they'll win the first game. We'll go nuts because you know how we get. You know how we get. They win this game on Saturday. We're winning the Super Bowl, right? We're going to be walking around with our heads in the clouds. And then, we've been watching this team, right? So what's going to happen? They going to win a Super Bowl this year? Let's be realistic, right? Right? Probably not. And that sucks.
They're going to give up a couple big plays. Dak's going to throw an interception. Someone's going to fumble something somewhere. A couple of drop balls, couple of sacks given up, couple of sacks taken. We're good about that. Micah Parsons and Marcus Lawrence, they just have fun going after the other quarterback.
Yeah, but even the defense hasn't been great. The defense, I mean,
the rest of them, not so much, yeah.
Washington is not good. Washington does not have a good offense. Who is their quarterback? Like some dude who just,
it was his first game ever, but they had, 2 missed field goals and 2 missed extra points? That and the interception in the end zone. Yeah. So they were down there a lot more than the scoreboard showed.
I don't know. So I guess my season isn't totally over because although I'm not a born and bred Cowboy fan, I do vicariously root for them through you and through the people of this town, and most importantly, through my 13-year-old son, who I'm very concerned for not being able to handle it. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Look who's here. Look at the last comment. What are you doing?
Yeah, that ain't him. Anyway, here's what I want to talk about, because this is a very interesting situation that I find myself in, James, because we've just gone over where you are as a Cowboy fan. You've been led to think all season long that this could be the year, and now you're looking at what this team has turned into, and you've seen them last Sunday, and you want to vomit. You're not comfortable with it
is where I'm at. Lucky, I am hopefully riding a lucky streak. I do not think fundamentally on paper or even in practice, this team is the best team in the NFL. But lucky streaks happen, and that's
yeah, exactly. Anybody can get hot in the playoffs, and you know what? There is a lot of talent on the Cowboys, so who knows? I want to spend a moment now talking about my team. Did you see what happened with my team? With my
Bears?
Excuse me, my Chicago Bears, who
4-13, right?
4. Don't you give us that 4th win. We need that 3rd win. We got 3 wins, not 4. Don't go adding us another one. You change everything. You give us that 4th win. That 4th win ruins everything. I have never in my life had this experience, James. This has been one of the most, I'm a diehard Chicago Bear fan. This has been one of the most enjoyable seasons that I have ever had watching the Chicago Bears.
This can't be a thing. No,
it is absolutely a thing, and I am not alone. As a matter of fact, here, let me send you something. Let me pull something up for you. Let me see, because you'll play it on your end, okay? Here, I'll do this really quick. It's a little piece of video. See if you can scroll down to where the video is. I want to play you. This is from. Well, you know what? Can I send? How do I send you a message?
Or you can send in a little chat box and restream.
Oh, can I do it in a little private chat? Can I do it that way?
Yeah. Private chat.
Okay, there you go. All right, there you go. So, see the thing I gave you?
Yeah, and also, I emailed you something like right before the show began that kind of augments what we're talking about as well. So let's look for that while I'm doing this. All right, so I see it here. We have the Bears GM.
Pull up the video. You're looking for a video from Good Morning Football from this morning. And this is when you say it can't be a thing, I'm telling you, it is absolutely. So it might be that first video. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so if we can maybe restart that. So when I tell you this has been the most enjoyable football season that I can remember, probably since 1984. I don't know. Look, maybe I've had some other enjoy. We went to the Super Bowl in 2005. That was a lot of fun. But something happened with Bear Nation. And what happened was around April of last year, heading into camp, they started to tear this team down. They got rid of Khalil Mack. They hired a new coach. They hired a new front office. Khalil Mack was traded, and we're like, okay, so this is what we're doing. We're in a rebuild. We have traded Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith. Danny Trevathan is no longer there. Basically, everybody who was making more than the league minimum was let go from this team. The entire goal of this season was we're going to lose double-digit games. We know this going in. We got to get out from under the salary cap. The salary cap was killing us. We had a bunch of crazy contracts. So going into this season, here was the goal. is Justin Fields going to be our quarterback? That is all we wanted to know. Can he play quarterback? And we got our answer. Yes, he can play quarterback. So in watching all of these games all year, I at some point, and it probably got about halfway in the season, where me and a lot of my Bear fan friends, we all started rooting for the losses. We're like, okay, Justin has got to throw. Let's see Justin put up 30 points. Let's see him run for 100 yards, and let's see him throw no picks. That's all we wanted. That's all. And we got that consistently. So we're thrilled. We're losing games 45-30, but whatever. The offense is obviously working because they're putting up 30 points a game, right? Right. So then it starts getting to the point where, oh my God, we're going to get the third pick in the draft. We were so excited. We're like, oh, we got to maintain this third pick in the draft.
Should be, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, there's 2 weeks left and we can get the second pick in the draft. Well, as things turned out on Sunday, because of one of the most magical football miracles that has ever happened. So, James, you know who Lovie Smith is? Yes, head coach of the Houston Texans.
Former head coach of the Houston Texans.
Former head coach of the Houston, also former head coach of the Chicago Bears, took the Bears to the Super Bowl in 2005, won multiple divisions. He's beloved. It's Hallis, Ditka, and Lovey in Chicago as far as our coaches. So when the Brian Flores situation went down in Miami and he was fired and he claimed race and, Rooney Rule violations and all that kind of stuff, the Houston Texans had a vacancy and they very quickly filled it with Lovie Smith, the black guy. Yeah, see? The NFL is it, right? Lovie Smith was never given a chance. He was given a team that was absolute garbage after the Deshaun Watson situation. He was basically just put in there because he's a blackface. And, his job was to just maintain the team this year. Now, in the last couple of weeks, they had been negotiating with Lovie Smith about whether or not he was going to return. And at some point, Lovie Smith got the idea in his head that they're not going to rehire me. They're just going to fire me. So F this. Final game of the year. We're going up against Indianapolis. We have the number 1 pick. The Houston Texans, me, Lovie Smith, who's about to be fired, is going to deliver the number 1 pick to this management team who is about to fire me. Fuck it. Let's go for the win. And Lovie Smith went for the win. He won the game in the on a Hail Mary pass. It was a Hail Mary. It was 4th and 20. Hail Mary, caught in the end zone, touchdown. They're down by 1 point. So what does Lovie Smith do? Lovie Smith knows he's about to be fired. What does Lovie Smith do? Does he kick and go for the tie and play in overtime? Or does Lovie Smith go for 2?
I mean, he went for 2. I didn't see this.
He went for 2.
Oh, wow.
Houston Texans win. That they're going crazy. Lovie knows he's getting fired. And then they go up to the owner. McNair, is it McNair? They go up to the owner in the box and they show him and he was pissed because with that one moral victory to end the season, the Houston Texans dropped from the number 1 overall pick to the number 2 overall pick, being beaten out by the Chicago Bears, who lost earlier to the Minnesota Vikings. And so Lovie Smith delivered for Chicago Bear fans. It's been a season where we haven't been expecting wins, but all we wanted to see was, do we have a quarterback? And now we have a quarterback. And everybody in the draft wants a quarterback because there's one guy out there. Well, there's a couple, actually. I personally think C.J. Stroud is the guy I would go with, but whatever, I'm not a GM. Bryce Young from Alabama is the quarterback that everybody wants. We got the first pick. We don't want a quarterback. We got Justin Fields. We're not going to take a quarterback. So we are open for business. And I'm telling you, the glee, the euphoria that Chicago Bear fans are in right now. James, we got $150 million in salary cap space. That's more than any team has ever had going into an offseason. That means we can spend like Michael Jackson in Vegas. We can spend
you got the whole cap basically. So here's the first thing you're looking at right now. Okay. Trade that bitch.
That's what here. So let me play
this. Don't want Bryce Young anyway. Trade it.
When you
you're
say
the dude you want, even if you trade down.
When you say the euphoria that we Bear fans have been experiencing now for the last couple of weeks is not a thing, it is. And this is Good Morning Football, the NFL Network's flagship morning showgram. This is Kyle Brandt. Kyle Brandt, who is sort of the face of the NFL Network. He's well, actually, no, would that be maybe? Never mind. Anyway, he is a Chicago Bear fan. So let's let him represent the attitude of Chicago Bear fans today. Here you go. Go ahead, hit play.
I had it. It's loading.
shift gears dramatically. How is it possible that the happiest team in the NFL yesterday lost its 10th straight game, doesn't know what they have in their head coach, doesn't know what they have in their GM, doesn't even know where they'll be playing their football moving forward, and yet they're the happiest team in the league? The Bears. Here's your question. How much? How much you got? Come and get it, suckers. We got the #1 pick because the Texans decided to turn into the 78 Steelers in the last #1 pick. The Bears have not had it since before my father was born. It's a fascinating thing because I do not think they're interested in any way in drafting a quarterback. I do not think they'll be drafting a quarterback. They like Fields. They like the future of Fields. So they're open for bleeping business. Name your price. Yeah. Come and get it. And what's funny is that one of the teams when I have to come and get it is the Texans. The Texans who won yesterday, so they don't get jumped and get their second pick at quarterback. It's an incredible thing. They're going shopping. They're going to get diamonds and pearls. And the #1 overall pick fetches a massive bounty. They got money to spend. They got the #1 pick. They got a quarterback who can play. And the Bear happiest team in the league right now. Let's rock and roll. Bear down.
Really quickly, a lot of people.
All right, now, what was so great about that is that the Texans are now sitting at #2. And people who don't really follow the draft or don't really know how this is going, well, if the Bears aren't going to take a quarterback at #1, then why do the Texans need to worry? Well, the Texans need to worry because the Texans are in the same division as the Indianapolis Colts, who also need a quarterback, who are picking #4, who very easily could trade the Bears that 4 for the 1, take the quarterback the Texans want. Anyway, it's going to be the most fun offseason that I've ever had. Now that we might win 5 games next year, and that will have me looking to slit my wrists. But at any rate, football is crazy, man. What happened in the final moments of a bunch of games that affected the way the draft order was just unbelievable. Oh, so exciting.
Now, if we had relegation, the Texans would have been fighting for their ability to stay in the league, in the big leagues. The Cardinals, the Bears, the Colts, they all would have been playing for something this last couple of weeks, but oh well. So, all right. So did you get my email here? Because this is out of control. Listen, I'm a big capitalist pig, and I never bemoan another man's pursuit of a profit. But this whole like commemorative sports memorabilia thing, it's way out of control. Because working in radio, you get like these little commemorative footballs. Like when the Saints won the Super Bowl, when I was on Radio Row, they gave everyone one of the footballs.
Yeah, tchotchke swag.
Yeah, and it had like the whole schedule on it and the head coach and all that crap. So they already have these commemorative footballs for Georgia for winning the game last night. Because it's what they do 15-0. And so they have the whole schedule and scores. And then you turn to the other panel and it has like the whole roster on it. But now I think they've gone too far because they're even making commemorative stuff for the people that lose the game. And you shouldn't have.
No, you don't want to remember that.
But I mean, what are you going to do? You can't give them like the trophy they lost, and you do a commemorative football for losing. So what they're doing here, I got a commercial, just a script in for my media company, and I had to voice this out and send it back to the company today. It's a weird client, but I just wanted you to hear this to see how far it's gone. Do you have the MP3?
Oh, yeah. Oh, am I playing it? I thought you were playing it because your audio plays better on your end, which is why I didn't understand. But if it's just an MP3?
Yeah, it's just an MP3 in your email here. Yeah, it's good.
TCU fans, listen up. We have the greatest piece of memorabilia from this year's national championship game available for you at Miko.com. In honor of their historic trip to the national championship game, TCU Horned Frog fans can now buy their very own special commemorative mud hole to remember the game by. You can now forever remember the utter national humiliation of the TCU Horned Frogs by Georgia, where they got beat worse than they beat Tarleton State. And that's a truck driving school. Get your limited edition TCU
refrigeration, I thought, but yeah.
Championship commemorative mud hole while supplies last at Miko.com.
All right. Very nice. There it is. The sports memorabilia game. It's a racket. Could you hear that?
Yeah, well, it sounded echoey like it was off your computer speakers, but I don't
know why my computer speakers are playing my shit, and it's not supposed to be playing through my computer speakers. It's supposed to be playing through the computer, not the computer speakers. I don't know what's happening here. It's driving me insane.
It was an air of authenticity. But, yeah, when you get stomped into a mud hole, is that really what you want to remember? Is that what you?
No, not particularly. No.
Who wants memorabilia from Lucy? What was it? 65-7.
Yeah, 65-7. Let's
Now, I
remember
didn't
that.
see
Let's
it.
put
Now,
that up
now
on
I
the
saw. Did
grid.
TCU score first?
I don't think so.
Because they scored in the first quarter, and so I don't know what the order happened, but I just think
no, they scored second. Georgia scored first, and then TCU immediately came back and were like, "Yeah, we got a game," and then we
all
did.
right, that's a little better because I always enjoy in a blowout if the losing team scores first because you talk about pompous before the game, and these people would be elated and over the moon, thinking, "Oh my God, magic is happening right in front of our face," and then just have it be stomped into the ground. Oh.
Let me take you back to the 2005 Super Bowl. Devin Hester returning the opening kick 102 yards for a touchdown, putting the Bears ahead on the opening kickoff, and then it didn't go so well.
Devin Hester.
I've been there.
Yeah, Devin Hester, a guy that will never have to buy his own drink in Chicago ever again.
No. Yeah, I mean that was a rough one because we were in the bar. We couldn't believe it. We're chest thumping. We're like, no way, this is gonna be a blowout.
This is over. This is already over. Yeah.
And then Peyton Manning showed up. So
Oh yeah, that guy.
That's gonna happen.
Idiot.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah,
can I go next?
Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question, and don't just say yes so you don't look like an idiot in front of the cool commenters.
All right,
over there.
I'll be thoughtful. All right.
Have you ever been to TJ Maxx?
I don't even have to be thoughtful. I loved TJ Maxx back in the day. Haven't been in a while, but
what's the back in the day? Like when you were a child?
1980s, 1990s, when I was young and in my 20s, and shopping for myself for the first time. Yeah.
All right.
TJ Maxx, Marshalls. Oh, loved them. Oh, we were even big. We were big in the thrift stores too. The thrift store scene in Chicago was pretty great.
Okay, so when I was growing up in Bug Tussle, we didn't have a TJ Maxx, so I didn't see one until I moved to Dallas after college, and at some point I went in one, not voluntarily. I was dating a chick, and she went into a TJ Maxx and took me with her, and I was like, oh, okay, this is just a different kind of flavor. The old department store, whether it's like a Mervyn's or a Dillard's or it's a Kohl's. Holy Macy's.
That's not what TJ Maxx is.
Right. It's not quite, but you're right. You're right. It's got its own little twist on it, but it's still like
TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx buys
crap for your house.
TJ Maxx is the dollar store of the clothing world. They buy overstock name brand stuff that you can get, like say you want a pair of Gucci. Like you can get a Gucci shirt at TJ Maxx for like $20.
Right.
Because the arms is a little bit longer than the other. So it's irregular.
You're not wrong. You're just more specific here because now we're in the subgenre of department stores that is the Marshalls, the Steinmart, the Ross,
TJ Maxx.
Yeah. All right, good. So now we all have a pretty good grasp of what TJ Maxx is, and if you haven't, what are you from another country? So
TJ Maxx. I love Marshalls more, but TJ Maxx is fine.
Well, I went to TJ Maxx today, and me being a 45-year-old heterosexual male, I didn't go on my own. I was taken there with my wife, and here's the mission. Okay, we have
you got 50 kids. You should be intimately familiar with TJ Maxx at this point. You've got 50 kids.
I'm their dad. When I buy them clothes, it's at Walmart or a football game. Yeah. So it is best friend's time to buy her a Christmas present. I'm going to New Orleans this weekend for Osterlin / Rebecca's memorial.
Oh, is that this weekend?
Yeah, you want to go?
I can't go this weekend.
You can ride with. You're welcome.
No, I cannot. I got my kid this weekend, and then I got a big thing on Monday, and yeah.
Okay, so I am as part of that trip. I'm going to take best friend her present, and so
I thought you were going to have this like later in the spring. I thought you were gonna wait a while and then have a memorial when everybody could be. This thing is just jumping up on me.
No, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my TJ Maxx story.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I am not really good at buying gifts. I think I am, but I have so many disappointments. I doubt myself, and I probably rightfully so. I've gotten some real shitty gifts for people apparently, but so we go into the TJ Maxx, and I'll throw out my opinions, but you're welcome to smack them down. So when we walk in, we turn to the right, and there's these handbags there. And I was like, man, $129 is a good deal for this Michael Kors bag. And my wife looks at me like, like I'm a freaking idiot, right? Like, what do you know about bags? You know, I don't know, man. I'm pretty shady. I know a lot about designer stuff.
I know the
So
good ones cost like $500. That's what I know.
yeah, and I know that's not a real Gucci stripe, you know, with the green and red. It's counterfeit. But I thought that was a good deal. I thought it was a good bag. Isn't that a good gift? Apparently, that was a stupid gift. She doesn't want a bag. She doesn't want a bag. Why do I thought chicks like bags? I buy
Chicks love
bags.
bags.
Yeah,
No, your wife is weird. 9 out of 10 other women would love a bag.
Well, I mean, sometimes in some situations, maybe they don't want a bag, and so fine. We'll move on to the next part. And so then they had some cool stuff, like they had some pajamas, and then it's like really cool if like your wife is looking for lingerie for her friend, because it's fun watching your wife pick out lingerie for a chick. I thought that was kind of interesting, but it didn't last long.
TJ Maxx, maybe in a Victoria's Secret, but in a TJ Maxx.
Hey, we're in Bug Tussle, man. Life is pretty mundane.
So there's a lot of extra large sizes of lingerie at the Bug Tussle TJ Maxx.
All right, and so we are looking at the pajamas. Now, something else that I am not a regular at TJ Maxx, so I'm horrible with just the general etiquette of shopping in general. I'm such a fucking caveman sometimes. So we're talking, we're looking at the pajamas. I'm like, look, actually, she would love they're fuzzy. It looks like kitty cat kind of print, and you know, this looks like something you would just binge Netflix on, comfy cozy. And she's like, well, I don't know what size we get. Would she be a large or would she be? Shut up. You know, she'd be an extra large. Well, there's a woman that's like 6 feet to the right of us that's just listening to us, and I'm not aware because I'm an idiot. And so when I say that, the woman looks like I am just Skeletor from He-Man, right? Like, because I said, you know, she'd be an extra large because my wife's best friend is a woman of size. You know what I'm talking about?
You know it. You're trying to buy her something. This is practical. This isn't time to try and be nice. You're not going to get her a medium. She's not going to fit in a medium. You get her an extra large.
So now I just know this woman is like looking darts at me, right? This 58-year-old kind of, she's got the half gray bob haircut, you know, not the Karen haircut, but you know, you're one of your teachers in freaking middle school. But she was just staring, like I said, the most disgusting thing. Now, she herself is not a large woman. I guess she's just offended on behalf of large women.
Sure.
And if she saw my wife's best friend, she probably would have giggled. She'd be like, yeah, that's extra large. But this woman's like staring me down. And look, I'm huge. She's regular size 5'4" woman. I'm 6'3". I could say, what's your problem? But I don't want to cause anybody any problem. So I actually kind of shirk away, you know, like a little humiliated, go behind my wife. And luckily my wife gets off this pajama idea. And so we're like walking out of the section, and my wife makes a joke, not me, the asshole, but my wife makes the joke like, hey, what if we got her some of this workout stuff? Oh my God, she would be so pissed.
You guys.
Oh God. And the woman heard that. And so it's almost like, see, I'm not necessarily the bad guy. This beautiful.
No, you're just a terrible couple. In this woman's estimation, you are just a terrible, terrible couple. By the way, you said you're not familiar with how TJ Maxx works. Let me tell you how TJ Maxx works. You wade into one of the endless rows of discounted and irregular merchandise. You find something that you like, you take it, you look at it on the hanger, you take it off the hanger, and then you just throw it on the ground and move on to the next thing. That is TJ Maxx. There is nobody putting shit back on hangers. You walk into a TJ Maxx, I promise you, the ground was cluttered with just clothes that idiots just went, nope, don't want this one. And then they just drop it on the ground. That's TJ Maxx and Marshalls. Look, you're not at a nice mall store, okay? We're out here with the hoi polloi, right? The regular people. We're out here with
the same sort of cultural upholstery stain that goes across Marshalls and Ross and Steinmart. And
just animals. No respect for the business, no nothing. Just take something off a hanger, and then, by the way, just rehang the hanger. You're going to want to just rehang the empty hanger. But, you know, also, if you are going to go the extra step and you are going to hang something back up on the hanger, do it wrong, because everybody else is doing it wrong too. Just like do it, you know, find the most fucked up way to hang a shirt on a hanger and do it that way, and then just put it back. And that way you can feel like at least you kind of tried, while still being the terrible human race.
So what you're hearing from Pugs, people watching the show, is the TJ Maxx tension that is in the air, especially when you and your wife both make fat jokes and you're heard by some lady who just now thinks that we're devil incarnate. And this feels like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where me and my wife are just making like little inside cutesy married couple jokes. But what we're saying is really assholey, and I'm sorry, someone just witnessed us being a-holes consecutively.
No, you're not sorry. Be proud of it. That woman needs to just stop dipping into other people's conversations.
So then it starts to ruin my life because me and my wife are just enjoying hanging out because the kids are back in school and we both work from home, and we're not on a schedule, doofing around TJ. We're not in a hurry. So we go over to like the housewares, and I have no idea what all's in TJ Maxx. It's actually pretty wild here.
Everything.
Yeah. I didn't make clock radios. This is great. Yeah. So when we're ducking over there by like the spatulas and stuff, there's the gray-haired Bob lady judging me for my fat joke, right? And it's like the golf cart from Ernest Goes to Camp or something, man. She keeps showing up when I'm over there by the shoes. There's the lady with the bob just going around the corner looking at me like I'm a piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they have so for some reason they have like Cokes and candy over by the cash register.
Sure. Impulse buys, they got everything.
Yeah, and so I'm like looking, I'm like, oh man, they have A&W root beer with 0 sugar. This is amazing. And then gray hair Bob lady goes by. I'm like, this bitch is ruining my life, right? And so what we end up doing is going all the way around the TJ Maxx. Well, like we hit the whole circuit, right? And actually we did after surveying what is basically the full extents of the TJ Maxx inventory. You're never going to guess what we ended up buying best friend for her birthday.
The Michael Kors bag.
Yeah, the fucking Michael Kors bag.
There you go. I knew that was coming back. I knew it was coming back because that's a good gift. That's a good gift.
So mad. So mad. This is why guys just flop over and die 10 years before women, man, because we just eat this all too. We're like,
yeah.
Really? Because I can't say.
Here's how this happened. You walked in, you had a great idea from the start. She shot it down. You stifled that angst, that stress, that anxiety was all pushed down, pushing up against
your heart. I sailed it away. I pushed it away on an ice floe.
You were humiliated. You were humiliated.
I believed her. I doubted myself, and I believed her that wasn't a bad idea.
Because she's already gaslit you into thinking that you have terrible taste in gifts. And here you are, you open up and look what happens. She ends up buying it at the end. You're right. That is what women do to us. They completely crush every hope, every bit of optimism, any bit of joy. Why? For their own amusement. That's what they do. For her own amusement. I bet she laughed. You said, this would be a good purse. And she went, you're such an idiot. I'm so superior to you. Yeah, that's how they do it. That over the course of 60 years. Think about that. That's why your grandma and grandpa didn't speak to each other.
Yeah, and look, and I'm not going to bring it up, and I didn't rub it in her face because I could say, oh, I know this Michael Kors purse. This model's called the "I Told You So" model. Yeah, it came out in 2018. Yeah. I could have been a bigger dick, but I didn't. Why? Because later on the day, I would like to smash. So I can't go grinding her. I can't go rub the dog's nose in the pee stain. Just have to let it go.
The sexual politics of your relationship are just truly bedazzling. Just everything is in order for you to gain a little bit more of sex time. That's
oh man, me and my wife were literally having this conversation with 2 of our friends today. And it has been more of a blessing than a curse, and of course it has its negative consequences. But like, why do I go home and this cutesy little song that my kids are singing on the radio? Why do I go learn how to play that on piano so when my wife gets home, I can charm her with some cutesy little rendition with me and the kids like singing around the piano? Because it's charming and it increases my odds of getting laid.
Is that the kind of thing that she like, or is she too jaded? She seems like, and when I say jaded, I mean that is a.
Please, whenever a wife comes home and sees 4 of her little babies singing with the father of those babies, some cute little song, and they're all enthusiastic, and they're like, "What do you think, Mom?"
All right. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys have a very nice familiar situation going on there. It seems like you've worked out your You little, like I said, sexual politics aside, it seems like you have a nice life. Can I transition into another couple that probably didn't have quite the same nice life that you and your lovely James? So we've just gone through the Idaho 4 story.
Johnny Segway.
And this is perfect. This is a perfect segue. The Idaho 4. So we've got Brian Kohlberger in jail, and we're starting to hear things, but whatever. We seems like we got that one nailed down, right? At this point, it's just we gotta wait for the trial. We gotta see.
So, are you going to surprise me with something here?
No, I'm not going to surprise you with something, but I am going to say it's time for us to start looking for the next great American murder mystery as it is unfolding in front of our very eyes. And James, I've got it. We went from Gabby Petito, we went to the Idaho 4, and now I have to ask you, are you following the story out of Massachusetts? Brian and Anna Walsh. Are you following this story yet?
Bro, this is the first time I've heard that name.
Okay, well then I would suggest that in the next couple of days you are going to start to hear. This is a big story. This is I guess maybe not in your part of the world, but this is you can tell that there are things happening with this story that are bubbling over and becoming well, I don't know. What are the ingredients to create one of these national stories where people are just fascinated by? Because this has got all of them, James.
All right, there has to be a mystery that doesn't have a clear and easy, obvious answer.
Okay, but that's not true. You're right. It does need to have that. That's not true. This one seems to have a very clear and obvious answer.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Jesus. I was going to say, and then second, one of the chicks has to be hot.
How about? Yeah. Give me that. Definitely hot. How could I interest you in a young mother of 3 boys who's also
not necessary, but quite common. That's a common.
Right, there you go. Can I interest you in a young mother of 3 boys who has been missing for 2 weeks? Can I interest you in that?
Well, only if she's hot.
Right, she's very hot. Here's the story. This is we've been talking about it on the High Noon Show because it's been trending every day. First, let me give you a look.
I can't believe I can say only if she's hot, and you agree with me. Oh yeah.
Well, no. I don't agree with you that, and you don't agree either that that's what makes it important. What you were simply saying is, I asked, what are the ingredients that go into making one of these national stories?
Right, and we're not bad guys for observing it.
No.
Hey, look, Bill's asking James, when do we get a parody song for one of these true crime stories? Bro, I brought you the hit song Brian Laundrie.
Brian Laundrie, Dirty Laundry. I don't even know if we still have that. All right, so here's the mom. This is Anna. She is a beautiful young woman, successful. There you go. You see her? There she is right there.
No one needs to be killing her.
No. She is an Eastern European immigrant, though. She is, I want to say, from like Czechoslovakia or something like that. Does that change your metric at all? I don't know if that changes anything. She's not all American, that's for sure.
White. Is that what you want me to say? No, I don't know. I guess she kind of looks like she could be something sort of ethnic-y, like Bulgarian or Turkish.
Exactly. Yeah, she's like Estonian or something. She's like from some former Soviet republic. I don't know. But here's the story, okay, as we look at Anna Walsh. Anna Walsh, a Massachusetts mother of 3, has not been seen, James, since at least New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and investigators have searched areas north and south of Boston to uncover her whereabouts and status. Her husband, James, a guy by the name of Brian Walsh, told police that he last saw her on January 1st when she left their home in Cohasset for a flight to Washington, D.C. for her job. She lives in Cohasset, Massachusetts, which is a very nice suburb, very expensive suburb right there on the water, so they've got money. And she works as a real estate executive in Washington, D.C. So she flies there on Mondays to her job in Washington, D.C.
What in the hell kind of lifestyle do some people lead that I am just not familiar with?
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you fly your ass to work for the week. I know other people who have done this, and I know what kind of salary they make. So this is not some woman who is, just leasing apartments in Georgetown. This woman is a mogul, huh?
Yeah, if her job can afford, if the built-in cost of what she does in her salary can afford a weekly round-trip plane ticket, then yeah, she's making some money, right?
Dang,
She's
for
she's
her.
not making 38 grand a year.
Well,
Okay.
and just not as like some aside judgment. This is kind of some of the information that might be helpful with the story, because if she is a woman of significant means, there's motive.
Mhm. Okay, so she is last seen on New Year's Day, which is
Hey, how
Sunday.
come we're not on the screen? How come it's just this broad?
I don't
Can't
know.
you do that thing where it sticks us on the side and it has the share screen on it, or is that asking too much? Or what?
Maybe like that. Is
Nah,
that
nah,
yeah? Something like
nah.
that better? Yeah?
I
Yeah?
should keep my mouth shut. All right,
Yeah?
let's look at this. You're right. You're right. Continue.
There you go. How about that?
Yeah.
That'll work. Okay. So her husband Brian and her had a nice little dinner on New Year's Eve, and people came over. And then New Year's Day, she was puttering around the house, and that was the last time she was seen. According to her husband Brian, on Monday morning after New Year's, or it wasn't New Year's Day, Sunday, so Monday is the first day of the week. She went. She takes a ride share to Logan Airport, gets on a plane, and goes to work in Washington on Mondays.
Okay.
That's the last time he saw her. He said, yeah, she woke up. It was early. She said, go back to bed. And then I just assumed that she got in the ride share and went to her job. Okay, so she goes there, never shows up, never got on the plane, not even sure if the ride share ever came. 3 days go by. So on Wednesday, finally on Wednesday, her office in Washington, D.C. calls her husband and goes, hey, where's Anna? And he goes, huh? What do you mean, where's Anna? Now they're married. She's been missing for 3 days. And so they're like, well, we're going to call the police. So now remember, it's been 3 days. He's had no contact with his wife. So the people that she works for say, okay, well, we're going to call the police. He hangs up. He immediately calls the police. The police say that calls reporting her being a missing person came in within 5 minutes of each other, both her work and him. So he wasn't even going to tell the police until the work people got involved. And then he thought, well, I better file a missing persons report first, or else I'm going to look suspicious. Her husband, Brian Walsh, 47, told police that he last saw her on January 1st when she left their home in Cohasset for a flight to Washington, D.C. But authorities have accused him of misleading investigators and say that they found a bloody knife in the basement of their home. Using information from a criminal affidavit, police, prosecutors, and defense attorneys put a timeline of the couple's movements and actions. Okay, so she went missing. He basically told police, I don't know where she went. I saw her early in the morning. She went to her job the way she always does. And that's it. That's the last time they saw her. So they got everybody in the community doing that thing where they hold hands and walk through a field. You know, you're picking up every little thing, looking for clues. They're all doing that. Meanwhile, while that's going on, their family house burns down, James. Suddenly, the family house burns to the ground. I don't know much about covering up evidence from a murder, but maybe burning down a house. All right, now this wasn't the actual house where they were. This was their former home. They had just moved out and they had rented another place. But coincidences are coincidences. All right, so everybody's looking for her. The whole town is out there searching the fields and the woods. And the police go over and they decide they're going to interview Brian again. And they talk to Brian and they start to decide, look, Brian, this dude is so full of garbage. This guy is a total sleazeball. He's lying to us. This is some nonsense. So they arrest him. They decide that he's lying to them about, all of this stuff. They then find a bloody knife and blood stains in the basement. Okay. All right. So this is him. He's being let out. Here, let me show you a picture of him, just so you can get an idea of what this dude's all about. All right, so here he is. See him right there?
Yeah.
All right, now let's go into his background, right? He's just a husband of a missing woman.
Yeah, but I hated when all these like psycho murdering husbands look like me.
Well, he's a psycho. He is a psycho. He is absolutely a psycho, dude. He is. When they let him out, I can't find the picture. Actually, here, let me show you. This is the picture of him when the police were letting him out. You tell me if this doesn't look like a psycho. Hold on. This one is truly.
You tell me I don't look like Scott Peterson. I don't look like this guy. I don't look like half of these psychos.
Yeah, that is kind of true.
3 names.
All right, here, look. Here's a picture of him, James, as he was being let out yesterday. Check this out. This is.
Oh no, that's me. You got us mixed up.
No, I know. Hold on. Here he is. This is him.
Oh God, don't. Okay, at least I'm not that fat.
Look at him. This is him in handcuffs being let out of his home where police are now naming him suspect number 1 in the disappearance of his wife. Look at the smile on his face. Look at this guy. I mean, what are we doing? All right, so let's talk about him, shall we? Oh boy, oh boy.
No, this does not look like the face of a guy who's being wrongfully arrested for murder of his wife. Right.
He looks like a guy
enjoying it.
He looks like a guy who you wouldn't be surprised to find out is a lifelong con man who's been in and out of mental institutions, been diagnosed as a sociopath, lived in a mental institution for a number of years. I mean, this is this guy's background. He comes from a very wealthy family. His father's a very well-respected doctor, so there was a little bit of money there in the family. And he was already under house arrest, James. He was under house arrest at the time that this went on because in 2018, he tried to sell on eBay a couple of fake Andy Warhol paintings. So that's one of his side hustles, is that he deals in fine art, and he's a bit of an art crook. Like he sells bullshit art. So he's been convicted of that. He is under house arrest with an ankle bracelet, so he can't leave. Maybe that's why the wife goes to Washington for a week, you know what I mean, to do her job. She's done with this guy. According to investigators, a search history on his phone. Okay, you ready for this? This is why you browse in private. According to police investigators, a search history on Brian's phone revealed that he had looked up on Google, are you ready? How to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body.
Does it have to be that specific? Does it have to be gender specific? If it doesn't have balls, then here's what you do.
And then he also Googled how to dismember and dispose of a corpse. Okay, so these are like 2 of his most recent search histories that the cops just found. And this is him walking out of the house. Yeah, they got me. All right, what else? In the hours after her disappearance, when she was supposedly on a plane flying to Washington, D.C., he ran down to a Home Depot and just spontaneously bought $450 in cleaning supplies in cash. No trace, no nothing.
Yeah, they'll never trace it back to you if you pay in cash. There's no cameras. Yeah.
James, you have a home and you have kids and all that. Would you ever just go to the store to buy $450 worth of cleaning supplies unless you were trying to cover something up?
Right. Yeah, no, there's no excuse.
His alibi doesn't check out. He says, and by the way, this is what's so funny about it. He talks freely about going to the Home Depot. Yeah, I had to buy some cleaning. We had to buy some cleaning stuff. They're like $450 worth of cleaning materials. And then he said, then I drove over to my mom's and I did some running around for her. I went to Whole Foods for her and another store, and he named the stores. And then so the police went and pulled all of the cameras from the parking lots and from the store. He was never there. He never showed up. So they got him lying about that. What else did he do? He was, it was also revealed now that he spent a few years in a mental institution in his early 20s. He was diagnosed as a sociopath with violent tendencies. So, but, comes from a very well-to-do New England family. He's got some money, so they were able to get him out of there. And
all right, look, I had the same question about this story that I have about many, many, many of these stories, some of which are not as violent but still puzzling, is how does a woman who is smart enough and successful enough to have a career where she can afford an 8-state commute end up with a violent sociopath? Like, doesn't she have better options, or can't she discern or have a little bit better judgment about who she's going to share her bed with and share her the rest of her life with?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, James. How on earth does this end up with that, right? I mean, look at her. This is a beautiful young woman. This is a beautiful young woman who could be on the arm of anybody. And you would say, yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself.
She probably has one of those sexy accents like from the Eastern Europeans.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't find the Eastern European sexy, but I get your point. Exotic, mysterious, maybe.
Cool. It's just got something cool going on. And she is with this violent sociopath who's not really that attractive. And yeah, he does come from money, but she apparently doesn't have financial problems. She's the one that has the high flying, highfalutin job.
Yeah, I don't know how she got the job, but she does come from very, very small means. I mean, they had nothing in the old country. And so she came over here with nothing except her looks and the American dream. And she met a guy.
Okay. So what about this? Maybe he's the only one with money and he's the one that's paying for all these flights. And she really is just renting apartments in Georgetown.
Well, now here you go. See, now does he have money? That's the other thing. His father, who was a fairly well-known doctor, I believe there's like a hospital named after his grandfather somewhere in Massachusetts. His father died a couple of years ago and left him nothing in the will. And what Brian did is because he had been estranged from his father because he was apparently stealing money from his father. He stole like $100,000 from his father and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, he had a bad relationship with his father. So he was cut off. He was completely cut off from any family money. So maybe there was, stresses. Remember I told you, he told the police he went to his mom's. He went to the store for his mom. That didn't check out. He said he went and bought $450 worth of cleaning material. Then he said he took his kids out for ice cream during the day. James, he's under house arrest. He's not allowed to leave for any of those reasons. Like, even if there wasn't a missing mom scenario, he's not allowed to leave the house. And yet he's just openly going, oh, yeah, and then I took the kids. I mean, it's crazy. So here's what some of his friends are saying about him. These are his friends. These are some of his oldest friends. Are you ready? Are you ready for what his friends say about him? Friend one says,
he's great at calculus. He loves differential calculus, integral calculus. He loves all that, right? Is that what he's saying?
No. Friend one says, Brian is an evil person and capable of doing just about anything you can imagine. That's what friend one says. Friend two.
Why didn't they tell him this to the wife?
Let's get friend two involved.
Last week.
I know, right? Friend two says, Brian is not a trustworthy person, and his affidavit in court is based on lies and misrepresentations. He completely crafted fabrications and misrepresented reality to suit his needs. This is his friend and cousin talking about the court case that came from him trying to steal his father's money posthumously. There was an ugly thing there. He completely crafted fabrications and misrepresented reality to suit his needs, which are consistent with his pattern of appropriating his father's money, which he had skillfully done in the past. The friend then added, this would be in line with what his father told me maybe 6 or 7 years ago, that when Brian had been a long-term inpatient at Austin Riggs Psychiatric Hospital, he was diagnosed as a sociopath with violent tendencies, and that this would never change. And this was the reason that his father had little to no contact with him in the past 5 years of his life. So these are the people who are closest to him saying, yeah, he's nuts. He's crazy. He comes from a rich, powerful family. So he's kind of gotten by all of these years. And now he finally just killed his wife. And now we're all going, yeah, totally. We could totally see him being that kind of guy that would kill his wife. Because in the same affidavit, a friend who knew Walsh since they were 13 years old, so this is a friend of his from the time they were 13, wrote, he was told by Walsh's father that Walsh was professionally diagnosed as a sociopath and that he would never change and needed to be watched for the rest of his life. And his dad was a doctor. That's like a dad who's already a well-known doctor saying, my kid is so broken, there is nothing that we can do. So anyway, Anna, the lovely Anna, is still missing, James. The husband is in court. He has a crazy history of cons and deceptions and money hustles and all of these things that he's been involved in. And we still don't know where Anna Walsh is. So I'm telling you, we're looking for.
He knows.
Well, of course he does. Of course he does. All right. Anything else, James? I think that's it for the day.
Yeah, if you go to TJ Maxx, watch how loud you're making fat jokes with your wife. I think that's the big lesson from today that we all learned.
But also an addendum to your little TJ Maxx thing. If you do go to TJ Maxx, and here's another problem that I have with TJ Maxx. I'll be looking through the racks. Nice. Nah, don't like it. Ooh, what's this? And I'll find something. And I'm looking in the extra larges because that's what I wear. And I'll pull it out and I'll go, oh, I really liked it. And it's a large. So if you're going to TJ Maxx, put the shit back where it belongs. Thank you. That's all. It's just my little public service.
I feel your pain, bud. It was a good show. Thank you.
All right, there goes James. Check him out, Florida Stories and all of that good stuff. We will be back tomorrow at noon for High Noon, which is my Monday through Friday. This ain't the one. That's not the one we like. Monday through Friday at noon, High Noon, all the hot topics of the day, current events, whatever it is, we'll talk about it. If it's happening in the world, I'll cover it for you. And then, of course, this one. We do this one every night at 9 o'clock. So at noon, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, High Noon, just me, topics. Then we take a break and we come back at 9 o'clock and it's me and Parker and we do this. Come one, come all. Tip the show if you can. The show runs on your tips, at least for the next month. So if there's any way you want to help out, treat me like I'm your bartender. I always say that. Just drop a little something. Venmo, Cash App. Those are the two that work best. Appreciate it. What else do we have? Anything else? Nope, that'll do it. All right, bye, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at noon for High Noon. You're the best. Multi-answer test. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some.